Hey everyone, I'm back working on the bus, and I'm probably not going to have a lot of action shots on this video just because it's a lot of redundant work. So if I ever talk about something I'm doing in this video, you know, like heat shrinking or mixing filler or glazing or whatever, just refer to the last two parts, and I kind of explain, at least as best as I can, some of those things, so and show off how I do it. So this will be just a lot of after shots and things like that, and just updates. The first update I did is during the week. Well, first of all, the theme of this video is going to be probably around just getting, you know, on the last part I did the front all the way to here, at least prepping it for paint. And what I mean by prepping it for paint is doing body work and filler work on the car, and then giving at least a little bit of a rattle can priming and maybe guide coating to see that I've gotten at least the body work done sufficiently before I go ahead and apply an epoxy primer, which I will be doing probably in a few weeks. I don't know, depending on how things go. But that's going to be kind of considered my seal coat. From the epoxy primer on, I can do little bits of glazing and filling for minor imperfections, and then on top of the epoxy primer, and then from there it'll be paint. And I did order the paint, and I'll be showing you that in a future part, so that's coming. So for the mid part here, you know, I had to get the back of the seats, and I had to prime all these jams. You can see I got quite a bit done. I haven't gotten the outside of this cleaned out yet and primed, but all of these areas are cleaned up and primed, and of course, you know, degreased and stuff, because there can be some junk and grease in here from the slider. And also this whole track I cleaned out really well for the slider. So all the slider and the upper jams have been prepped, painted, and primed, as well as the roof just to about right here, including this rail, has been, you know, degreased, you know, sanded down the paint, degreased, prepped, and primed. And so, yeah, you can see that this up until this rail here. Behind the seats, I ground down these welds a little bit. You could still see it. I mean, I was like, yeah, I kind of like it. It's character. And in the corner here, I didn't grind them down perfectly. Same at the floor. I ground everything down a little bit and applied some Port 15 patch. Port 15 painted it. Doesn't look like it because it's so filthy already from dust, but I did clean all this and Port 15 patch, Port 15 painted, and I seam sealed it against the backing. And of course I Port 15'd up, you know, to half the bench. So all that's done. Same thing on the driver's side. There's some Port 15 patch that I missed that I added in there, but that's all been seam sealed and resealed, and it's looking good. You notice on the back wall here, there was so much just surface rust that I just sanded everything down. You know, it took me a while to get it all sanded down and, you know, degreased, prepped, and then I just went ahead and did a whole, I just painted Port 15 all over the entire wall there. I probably won't even prime it. I'll just scuff that up and then just go over that with the epoxy prime. So that's done, in my opinion. The quarter window, so part of doing this midsection is finishing the sliding door, because that's pretty much on this side. It's the sliding door, which I showed you that in the last part. It's nearly finished. I just need to finish sanding it. On this end here, this just mess. I had to graft in this piece here, and this was all rusty. This was all rusty. So both sides are all mess. So I'll be sanding this down and filling this and trying to make this look better again, both on the inside and outside. And on this panel, really, this is pretty darn good here, this panel. I'm just going to guide coat it. And what I can see for sure is a little bit of lumpy or low spots right here. I think it's just where the panel has kind of come apart from the seam of the rail inside there. And so maybe a little bit of a heat shrinking, I'll probably do that. Then this is just sanding and redoing the filler on this and just sculpting it better. That's about all that is. I might get to that here, even though this is kind of toward the back part, but I think I'm just going to kind of work my way back this way on this side and then probably cut the video and call that you know, the next part. Well, here's the result the next day. As you saw, I filmed a little bit of me working on this panel here, and we're done with it. So I got from here to about the midpoint right here done, and then I'll save this for the final part here, both sides of the back. This is probably the worst of it, but yeah, the worst parts are these things. I wiped some glazing in here. The welds are gone, but it still doesn't look great. Same with these areas here. They need more work, but I was surprised by this panel that there was actually as much work as I had to do on it, but it is nice and straight now. I'm pretty happy with it. I had to heat shrink a lot right here. This is nice and smooth, and I'm pretty happy with this, the way this ended up turning out. There's a little bit of a high spot right there that I need to mess with later, but I'm pretty happy with that. It looks good enough. So today I'm going to try to get this side the same way. I'm just going to sand this back down, refill it, try to spoon out this seam that's in here. Gotta spoon that seam out, and yeah, I'll have this panel about to here primed in the same state as the other side. Taking a quick break if that's okay with you guys. I got the Port 15 patch wiped underneath there, and we'll wait for that to dry enough for that to sand down and I can start covering it. I did spoon out that crease. It is much better now, so that will save me some filler. And also I put some filler in that area there where I had to, you know, weld up a bunch of boogers and fix that sill on the inside. So I'm gonna wait for that to dry a little bit. Then once I sand that down, I'll be completely done. I just prime around the window. I'm completely done with that whole panel, and then we can move on to figuring out how to get that thing filled and looking right. Well, that's a wrap for this video. I finished the other side, the passenger side. I got that lower corner filled, and there's a lot of issues in the filler, but it is shaped right and good enough for that. So I went ahead and longboarded to the right, you know, to the middle of the wheel well, and longboarded at 120 and sprayed it with some spray paint primer. And we have the same, we're at the same place on both sides now. We have finished up until here. So on the final video, I'm just going to finish the body work here, which is a lot. I mean, there's a lot of problems here on both sides. Heat shrinking, you know, all the stuff. Heat shrinking and filling and glazing and all that. I also got a couple extra parts done. I got these little pieces primed up and sanded and primed up on both sides. I also found another piece on the nose that I sandblasted and then primed up. That piece that fits over, you know, that I'll show you. And yeah, so that's the next video. One thing I will be doing on the next video is I finally got my sandblasting pot working again, is I will attempt to, we'll see how well that works, to get inside here and really blast the rust out of there. I think you can reach up a little bit from the inside, you know, and get up in there, but it's, you know, it's very difficult. So I'm going to try to sandblast both sides of these and get primer in there on the next one, as well as, like I said, the filler on these just back corners, and then we are done with the you know, the body work. I will also on the next just have that, and of course this is boring, so I'm not going to show you this, but I'll have all the rest of the roof sanded, and I'll have all the yellow on the back of the car from here back all sanded down. It's going to be a pain to get up in there, but I'll do my best. It's not a big deal. So yeah, that's the next part. I am going to be on vacation for the next couple weeks, so I'm trying to wrap this video up, and I will be editing it in the car while we're on our trip so that I could have this video up while we're in the middle of vacation, and hopefully we'll have that last part, you know, in a couple weeks after I get back. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you later.